And I'm going to initially just give you a sense of the reason that we've come together today. So it's World Chocolate Day. We're involved in Chocolate Has a Name, which is a project. It's a collaboration between African Iwa Fairtrade National Campaigner Committee, Toco Bremen School, Coco 360, lots and lots of different people have come together to help make this happen. And what we want to do is, bearing in mind that when the people you'll be hearing from tonight went to school in Ghana, in areas where cocoa was grown, they didn't learn anything about the crop that was being grown outside their schools. So they didn't understand the philosophy, the politics, the history, the geography, the economics, the theology, the nutritional qualities. None of those things was available to them at the time, and that's really important. So the project Chocolate Has a Name is all about helping children in those cocoa growing areas understand the importance of cocoa to their parents' lives, to their lives, what happens with cocoa, how it gets turned into chocolate, and how they ended up as cocoa farmers, what it is about West Africa that means that growing cocoa is really important. So I'm going to hand you over to Adele now, who runs African Iwa, and she will explain a little bit more about her own lived experience.
Thank you very much indeed, Joanna, and happy World Chocolate Day to all of the community. I'd like to also acknowledge the many people and organizations who have come with us on this journey. I'd like to say a big thank you to Coco 360, Coco Diaries, Decocraft, makers of KB Chocolate, Fairway, Fairtrade NCC, the Fig Tree, who have all come together to make this dream come true. 129 years ago, the first 2 bags of cocoa beans will leave Ghana. And I feel incredibly humbled to think that after 129 years, children who live in cocoa growing community will for the first time be processing their cocoa beans into something they can eat and taste, and is utterly humbling. This is only possible because of you. And I also wish to say thank you to the ordinary tribesmen and women of African Iwa who use their lived experience as extraordinary tools to bring about change. I am incredibly honored. My name is Adele Asante, and I'm a human lived experience storyteller. Quite often people ask, what does that mean? Well, it means that the story I tell are true stories. And when I do, I like to meet with you at a place we like to call the awareness of awareness. And at this place, we begin to go into spaces and places with names that might sound familiar, or maybe not. We begin to see the faces of people with names that might sound like yours, or maybe not. But at some point, when I tell this story, I shall pause. And when I do, you will hear me say something like this. Now, listen. Listen to your thoughts, your feelings, and your bodily responses. And I hope that when I do, you pause and listen to all of your thoughts, your feelings, and your bodily responses. About 2 years ago, we told a story at African Iwa, a story we like to call Chocolate Has a Name, because it does. And from this story, I wish to challenge you today that at the pinnacle of an ethical and a sustainable chocolate story is not from the bean to the bar, neither is it from the tree to the bar. It's a new story, a story that chooses people over their produce. It's a story that honors dreams and hopes and aspiration. It's a story that chooses the thumbprint over the barcode. It's a story from the cultivator through to the consumer. And I call it the C to C. Not long ago, I met with my family, the Chocolate Has a Name family. And I posed the question, I said, when you think about World Chocolate Day, what is the one word that expresses your sentiment towards the day? And we had words like solidarity, dissemination, fairness, inequality, inclusivity, excitement, love. These were the many words that tribesmen and women will share. Today, I feel incredibly honored to share with you the one word that does it for me as we observe this day. And my word is honoring. Honoring. So Joanna, when you're ready, please share the slides. And at this point, I invite you to come with me into the awareness of awareness. This is Africaniwa, where one story at a time, we endeavor to speak one common language, the language of unity and diversity. And as I think about this day, and I say honoring, I like to honor ordinary women in my family who have been tilling and toiling the soil as cocoa farmers for 4 generations now in a village called Seshi Achiase, somewhere in Ghana, West Africa. And it's in their honor that today I share their names with you. Akosia Otinewa Onyamaka, Ifia Dansua, Ekwia Friye, and Sechibia. These are the names I wish to honor. But the story I share with you this evening is the story of this man, Emmanuel Amfo Okwampa, the son of a cocoa farmer. In the late 70s, Emmanuel will arrive in the UK to pursue a dream. As a young boy growing up in a village somewhere in Ghana, when he went to bed and dreamed dreams, he dreamed dreams of becoming a medical practitioner. His hope, his dream and aspiration was one day to bring some kind of hope and restoration to the ailing in his community. All he wanted to do was to become a medical doctor. His mother, a cocoa farmer, would stop at nothing but to make this dream come true. Members of the family came together to contribute, to support him to go to secondary school, Opokuwari Secondary School, somewhere in Kumasi, in Ghana. From there, he would even dream bigger. He just wanted to become a medical doctor. So this family farm was used as a form of collateral to support him with a scholarship. And in the late 70s, he will arrive in the UK with a suitcase in one hand, 25 pounds in his pocket to pursue his dream as a medical practitioner. He was very determined and very studious indeed. To Emmanuel, anything that came in his way of this journey of wanting to pursue the career as a medical doctor was either a destructive attraction or an attractive distraction, and he will not make room for any of those. All he wanted to do was become a medical doctor. And so he would study day and night. But one day, perhaps all this would change when Emmanuel will go for a very important interview. And this was the one interview that will gain him access into the School of Medical Sciences. In the interview, he will be told, Emmanuel, there's no doubt you're a studious student. Your grade shows and you look very determined. But we are afraid we cannot allow you entry into the School of Medical Sciences because, Emmanuel, you have no bedside manners. Bedside manners. Now listen. Listen to your thoughts, your feelings, and your bodily responses. Bedside manners, whatever that was. The son of the cocoa farmer was willing to learn bedside manners. He was willing to unlearn his manners and learn bedside manners. But unfortunately, it appeared as though people who looked like him or perhaps sounded like him could not learn bedside manners. And that was the day his dreams, his hopes, and his aspiration of ever wanting to become a medical doctor disappeared. So I moved slowly through this world, accustomed to, aspiring to disappear. I moved slowly through this world, accustomed to, aspiring to disappear. People's dreams and hopes and aspirations have disappeared. People's names have disappeared because at this point we need to anglicize our names a little bit. That was the day that Emmanuel thought perhaps he could settle for a less people-facing career, that did not need much of bedside manners. So that was the day Emmanuel decided to look into another opportunity at the School of Biomedical Sciences. And so he went into the School of Biomedical Sciences, and later on, he would work with the NHS at the Royal Free Hospital in London, where he becomes the head of department. But his experience did not leave him. He was determined to use his experience to tell a story that would empower other people. And so later on, when he would think about his pension and coming on retirement, he wanted to go back to his community and with his NHS retirement, set up an endowment fund that will allow people like him from his community who had dreams and hopes and aspiration of changing the world to pursue that dream. Today, as a granddaughter of a cocoa farmer, I dare ask, who defines bedside manners and how do they define it? How nuanced is bedside manners? Not long ago, I would visit a shop and ask for an outfit in nude. I was presented with a color that was perhaps 100 shades lighter than my skin tone. And I questioned, this is not my nude. So today, as daughters, granddaughters, and children of cocoa farmers, we dare ask, who defines sustainability and how nuanced is that? What is ethical? What is fair? And how nuanced is that? Who tells the story? And how do they tell it? This evening, I have gone back home and I've done what I do best. I have brought the ordinary and perhaps the not so ordinary, and they will be sharing with you. So why do I tell my story? I tell my story to illuminate my reality and to challenge your perceptions, because nude is not just one color. Today, I tell my story and I use it as a tool for social change and social justice. I tell my story because when a people are forgotten, their humanity is lost. Joanna, next slide, please. In 2014, Emmanuel will go back to Ghana to visit his homeland in preparation of this endowment fund that was going to assist young people to pursue their dreams. And it was in that same village that he would take some of his very last breath. And he's no longer with us. And I'm here to honor him and the many, many other peoples whose dreams and hopes and aspirations have disappeared. So why do I tell my story? I tell my story because when a people are forgotten, their humanity is lost. But today, more than ever, I tell my story because chocolate has a name. And one such name is Emmanuel Amfo Okwampa, my uncle. Today, I believe that the first time when children in Tapa Brumai will process their bean to the bar, it would not be a story about Ghana. It would not be a story about Africa. It will be a story about fairness and justice to people like him and the many others whose dreams and hopes and aspirations, whose names disappeared. Today, I dare ask, who defines bedside manners? And how nuanced is that definition? I tell my story because chocolate has a name. Now, listen. Listen to your thoughts, your feelings, and your bodily responses, because chocolate has a name. Thank you, Joanna. Your microphone is off, please.
Thank you, Adele. That was fantastic, as always. Wonderful to hear that story. And yes, it's so important that people have their names and their lives validated and feel that that aspiration to disappear It's sort of heartbreaking, but also it would be so nice if we saw each other as we see ourselves. That would be lovely. For the rest of our evening tonight, we're going to be having a panel discussion. So we've got lots and lots of amazing speakers for you. And we're all going to be reflecting on World Chocolate Day. So if you have comments, questions, put them in the chat. And then at various points throughout the evening, we'll be able to look over the questions and make sure that our fantastic speakers are able to answer anything that comes up while they're discussing. So the question that we're talking about today is, from cultivator to consumer, what should the message of World Chocolate Day be? And I'm going to start with Dr. Bob Manteo. So let me just in Bob the screen so that you can see him. Bob, do you want to introduce yourself and then think about our question of the night?
Right. Hello, everybody. My name is Bob Mantial. I am from Ghana. I work in the University of Ghana. I work in climate change, and I'm also involved in sustainability studies. One of the areas I'm interested in is cocoa sustainability. So my research area has focused on cocoa sustainability and chocolate production and consumption. Today's World Chocolate Day, and for us in Ghana, we are excited about today, and we invite the world to join us in the celebration of cocoa first, and then chocolate second. We all know chocolate is a good thing. Chocolate is sweet. It is a global cultural product and a symbol of warmth, joy, and love. Chocolate indeed has a name. Here in Ghana, much as we want the world to join us in celebrating cocoa, we also want the world to join us in celebrating the hands behind cocoa production. The farmer, the cocoa farmer, whose children have either never seen chocolate or never tasted chocolate. We want the world, as they bite into chocolate products or today and tonight and any other day, to, in remembrance or in celebration of chocolate, remember that there are farmers, cocoa farmers in Ghana and some other places in the world who are faced with hard choices. Some climate induced, some financial induced, some sociocultural induced. We want the world to remember cocoa farmers whose children are torn between going to have formal education and also staying on the cocoa farms to help their parents and to inherit what is known and seen as an intergenerational occupation. Cocoa farmers are faced with hard decisions because, on the one hand, if the children stay on the farm, they are accused of child abuse or child rights abuse because they are helping out on the farms. So these are some of the issues that we want as we all celebrate World Chocolate Day to also be thinking about and to consider. It's a moral dilemma for a lot of farmers because, one, they wouldn't want their children to be on the farms. They also face the fear and threat of losing who inherits the occupation of cocoa farming. And today, across Ghana, the average age of cocoa farmers is post-60. Young children have all gone into the cities. They've had education, formal education, which is a good thing. They are exposed to life in the cities and trying their hands on new occupations. But then the challenge of who produces the next cocoa, who produces the next chocolate. In 10 years, in 20 years, in 30 years, when we all gathered here celebrating World Chocolate Day, who will be behind the production of that chocolate? These are the questions. Of course, we are excited that the world at least recognizes chocolate and commits a day for its celebration. We join in the jollity of the world, but we also ask the world, as they continue to bite into chocolate every day, every time, that we remember the cocoa farmer. We remember farmer justice. We remember farmer fairness, and we remember cocoa sustainability. Chocolate indeed has a name. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. That was really interesting. And does anybody have any questions for Bob at this stage? If you don't, then we'll put them in the chat and we can address them later. It's absolutely fantastic to hear the reflections on cocoa. And the next thing we're going to do actually is to hear from a cocoa farmer. So we have Lydia, who I think is with Bismarck.
Yes, please.
Hi, Lydia. So yeah, we're going over to Lydia now, and Bismarck, and can you introduce yourselves and just reflect a little bit on what World Chocolate Day means to you and what cocoa means to you?
Okay, first of all, I would like to introduce our team from Capable Mind. Nimo Bismarck, community developer for Coco 360. And the woman here is Madam Lydia. She's a cocoa farmer. And we have Philippa Morris. She's the facilitator for Capable Mind. So I'll leave the floor to Madam Lydia to explain the job. Okay, she said that her name is Lydia Coco. She comes from Mine, that's a community, and she's a cocoa farmer, and she's very happy that today is the World International Chocolate Day. In previous days, that's to be when you are a Ghana and not a couple of the making them we are for human and other form. Yeah, I was telling you. Therefore, and then they are not going to say, if you say, that's one, Emma, number, no, and then Pala, when you have to be apply with the United States. What she's trying to explain is that when it comes to community in Ghana, normally when you are a cocoa farmer, you are being considered as poor. But she was trying to raise the point that today being International Chocolate Day, I'm sure that she's very important to the world because her produce are being made into material like today. So this is we the Emma, and some of the figure we now the people are doing. We are where we are, if we are, if we are from the amount of we can do now, but we are not for that and doing. If you go, you must have to want to own and now I'm not buying our I'm going to okay. If I may deduce from whatever she was saying that being considered as poor, people may see her not having anything in life. But when it's time for her to go to farm, love family. That one. And also, most of the people within the community, because farming is being seen as for a job or for work, they don't want to venture into farming. So most of these youth over here try to enjoy the galaxy, illegal mining. That's what you call galaxy. Today being chocolate day, we like to wish the world happy chocolate day, happy International Chocolate Day. So, very much, you guys like to talk about our weather. And now we are now weather announcement. If you maybe are sending a young, well, we say, by the same, I think, and I said, everyone, that's what maybe I want to say, we have labor pass. And I said, maybe I want to say, the other one, we do making fast. The people on a fine record, we are everything. The Coco dance we are saying, we are fine record, the couple things, now, we all know that climate being a major part of Coco. Due to that, we have to see that like Coco life is being dedicated to get rid of deforestation, that protecting the land and also the forest at large. So when it comes to that, seeing the impact of how climate has changed cocoa production in Ghana, nothing is being done about it presently. I think by the next, like let's say 10 to 20 years time, places that were being used as cultivation farms cannot support the cocoa production. And also, she was trying to elaborate on how these weather also affect the root. We have bad roads within cocoa community. So when it rains, transporting these cocoa from the farm to your house or your home or where to sell your product becomes difficult because the whole place becomes flooded and means of transportation becomes a problem. So they find it difficult in transporting their goods from the farm to their houses and also to where they have to sell their cocoa beans. Okay, what she was trying to say is that today being a chocolate day, she's very happy and she will wish the world that it's her day because she is a farmer and many a times foreigners, even the local people come promise them that they give them incentive material to help them in terms of their farming or their production. But these promises do go in vain. They don't materialize. They are not being given whatever they were promised. That makes the situation very worse for them. So today being a chocolate day, she would like the world to know that promises upon promises are being given to them, but they are not being materialized. So she wants the world to think about this as a main cause.
Thank you so much, Lydia. Really interesting. Adele, I think you wanted to sort of summarise what Lydia had to say there because the line was quite bad.
And that's why I love these meetings, Joanna. when we say we want to create an equitable space. It's just easy to say equitable space. And so you ask a farmer to come from Takabremai and the internet is just tripping. It's interesting. And this is what we do at Africanyway. When someone said, I've come to Africanyway, I've learned to be patient, I've learned to listen carefully, because I can sit in my home and the internet comes on, but it's not the same elsewhere. And so we see how interesting it is wanting to connect people from everywhere. In a nutshell, she's excited to be here. And thank you, Bismarck. You did your very best in translating, so thank you, but the line was tripping. Lydia's excited to be here. She has some fears and concerns as well. She talks about the climate and how that cocoa farming is very much dependent on it. And she's talking about how the yields have reduced over the years. She talks about how farming is not attractive in her community. Young people don't want to go into farming. They will go into illegal mining, galamsey mining. You are short of the money, it is quick, and your livelihood, you have an improved life when you go into galamsey mining. You know, your quality of life is improved. And so that is becoming attractive to young people. She is into farming because she feels it's a responsibility. It's her family legacy, and that's why she's in there. And her fear is, who continues this at some point when nobody finds it attractive? So what is this world of chocolate that depends on cocoa, which we don't realize the wealth and all the benefits associated to? These are some of the questions she had. And she talks about people visiting her communities, foreigners and local people coming to collect data, promising a whole lot of things, asking questions and recording things and writing things, but they never get to hear from them. And she also has concerns that we have come to say we are going to do a project, Chocolate Has a Name, where children will be putting value on the cocoa. She thinks it's exciting. Maybe from the project, children will begin to realize the potential and the future in cocoa. But she's also worried, is this yet another promise which will never be materialized in our community? And this is just a summary of what Lydia had to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Adele. That's really useful. And we do have a question for Lydia and Bismarck. Somebody, I don't know if you're allowed to say, but some of the organisations that have been into your communities and made these promises, sort of who are they and what happened?
Okay, I think first of all, she would like to ask some debate to whatever about what has been promised by Africanyway. So I want her to finish with that, and then I'll come to your question.
I'm not entirely sure what Bismarck said, but Edmund, I'm not sure where you're joining from. I grew up in Ghana, and it's the easiest thing to go on a cocoa farm and see people coming with the aim of, we are wanting to help your community. We are wanting to do this. And ever so often, farmers are not even privy to know where they've come from, whose name they've come in, but they've come to help you. And we love it when people say they've come to help us. So we are obliged to give them answers to their questions. But these are interesting times, because now we are reflecting back and we are asking, what was the data taken for? Who took that data? How does it benefit us? You know, there's a long-standing history, and you would go back and see a lot of research and articles that have been done with our communities, cocoa farming communities. And I've gone back and reflected and asked myself, where was my grandmother mentioned as a co-author? When was my aunt mentioned as a co-author? When were the chiefs and the people of these villages mentioned as co-authors in some of these articles and research? We can't even argue about it. Thank you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I hope that's answered your question, Edmund. Did Lydia want to say something else, Bismarck? Was that?
Okay. What she trying to say is that there have been promised that girls' school, that's Aquabarima Girls' School, will be having a facility whereby they'll be producing chocolate with the cocoa beans that they produce from the community. So she's very happy about it. And she's praying and hoping that this promise being materialized so that their girls or the people in the community will know that these chocolates are being used for this. And so that you have future generations who will be interested in farming.
Yeah, I'll summarize that. So yeah, the project that I mentioned at the beginning, with the chocolate as a name, where we're teaching the girls at Aqua Bremen School, which are the girls in the community that Lydia and Bismarck are from. They will be our pilot scheme for the Chocolate Has a Name project, and they will be learning how to make chocolate. We'll be providing them the equipment, we'll be training the teachers so that they know how to deliver the workshops. And Lydia's very excited about that idea, that the children in her area, the girls in particular, will be empowered to understand more about chocolate, more about cocoa, and just that sense of ownership when they feel that they've made chocolate from cocoa that's been grown by the parents. So it's a really exciting project, and I'm glad Lydia's excited as well. So we're going to move on. So our next speaker is going to be Kwame Kwarteng. So if you want to introduce yourself and then a little bit about the question is, from cultivator to consumer, what should the message of World Chocolate Day be?
Okay, thank you very much. And I'm very happy to be within this space. My internet is extremely poor, so if you experience any breakage, kindly pardon me for that. My answer to that question is, I think everybody needs to know how the whole thing began, how cocoa production in Ghana began. We can't know our future without not knowing our past, and then how we can shape our present to be able to have a robust future. So in the 19th century, like in the 1900s, Ghana exported its first cocoa, like Adele talked about it at the beginning. And we were told that there was one man called Tete Kwashi who brought cocoa to Ghana. The interesting thing is that we were told that Tete Kwashi smuggled the cocoa to Ghana because apparently it was illegal for the cocoa seed to get to Ghana. And in the 19th century was still when colonization was in force. And so a time will come where the colonizer is the one that is super interested in the cultivation of cocoa, which is an irony. And so it is something I really want to look into, that whole schism between Tete Kwashi being the one bringing cocoa, and then all of a sudden the colonizer is so much interested in it, such that in the 1920s, Ghana was the world leader in terms of the production of cocoa, and also had cocoa as earning 80% of its foreign exchange. And this is still the time that colonization was in force. And so, I mean, the whole concept, so we studied the production of cocoa, the concept of global division of labor, where it was said that Ghana and other African countries were supposed to be good at the production of cocoa, and then the Western countries were supposed to be good at the value addition aspect of it, because industrialization was happening within the West. And so cocoa was entrenched as the expertise of the African, and that has still been maintained till now, where Africa still are more focused on the production of cocoa. And so a lot of people keep asking, why don't we add value to our cocoa? The point is, how do we add value when since history, you've been made to believe that where your competence lies with the production of cocoa. And because of that, there wasn't anything that was done within the villages or within the Ghanaian cocoa growing areas for people to know the whole meaning of adding value to cocoa. Secondly, cocoa isn't part of Ghana's cuisines. It's not part of any of our food. And so again, that is what makes me question the whole narrative where some people want us to be happy that it was Tete Kwashi that brought cocoa to Ghana. Ghana produces, the second largest producer of cocoa today. We should be happy about that. Why should we be happy about that? What is the pride in being the producer of the very product that has remained, that has allowed over 3.6 million of your own people to still remain in poverty? That is the product where the nation politically said that we're using cocoa as a poverty alleviation strategy, meaning that it is better for people to be smallholder farmers, just having something to do, not necessarily earning much, because we don't actually have too much jobs in the country for them to do. So it is in our national policy that cocoa is a poverty alleviation strategy. And so it means that until the country is able to generate a lot of jobs, everybody should be doing, should be producing cocoa. And so when the cocoa production was enforced, that it became a political way of earning foreign exchange to finance industrialization. And what happened was the colonial had to establish tradition was to become is that what they did historically and now was to control who can buy cocoa beans and who can add value to cocoa beans. And so up to today, even a cocoa farmer who would like to process cocoa beans into cocoa liquor will still have to be a member of Federation of Cocoa Commerce in London. And so that association still exists till today. And so that is why I find it a lot more hypocritical when you still have Europeans preaching to the rest of us as to what we can do to save the cocoa farmer. Do you want the cocoa farmer's son to go to school or the daughter to go to school? To become what? A cocoa farmer or to become an engineer? Where is the engineering role model that the daughter or the son is seeing in the village? Because the village and its members has been entrained to believe that all that they can do is into cocoa farming. And so back to the history, again, like I write that as a country that was forced under the Bible and the gun, we got our country being invaded by the British and the Portuguese, we were made to divert our natural land resources into producing the desserts of the West, cocoa. Cocoa is not a necessity product. We use cocoa in making chocolate. Chocolate is not a necessity product. We were made to use our land to produce what the Europeans need as desserts. For us, we should have used our land to produce the very thing that we eat. And that is why we had over 800,000 people that were put into that went into cocoa farming, because it was they were in the smallholding aspect of it, still did not produce even about 1 million before, making each cocoa farmer in Ghana owning an average of 1.5 hectares of land in Ghana. At the end of the day, earning absolutely nothing out of it. Then at the end, we are still being told that there is something that the cocoa farmer needs to do to become sustainable. I wanted to share with you my screen to just show you a particular graph, and then I will unshare just so you get the perspective of what I'm talking about. So you would see my screen here. 1950 is not long ago. To 1981 is actually not long ago. I didn't even start from the 1911s. I'm just starting from 1950 to 1981. A metric ton of cocoa beans was bought from the cocoa farmer at one Ghana cedi in today's terms, 1 Ghana cedi. I'm talking about up to 1 Ghana cedi, which means there were times where the farmer was being given 0.10 Ghana cedi, whilst that same beans they bought was sold in the international market for over $3,000. And this went on since the 1950s till 1981. So I'm talking about the colonization part, and then when the African took charge of its own affairs, still continuing to do exactly what the colonizer was doing. Between 1982 to the year 2000, cocoa beans were sold between 1 Ghana cedi to 225 Ghana cedi per metric ton. Again, it was traded in the international market for over $2,000, all of them in current terms. Why am I saying this? I'm showing you this just to let you know that when we say cocoa farmers are not earning a lot and their poverty has become endemic, it is not because they don't know how to manage money, like the way we sort of usually posture African politicians as corrupt, and hence every single African being corrupt. That is not the case. If you have propped the person, remember in colonization, we are forced to do what we did not want to do. That is the underlining. We were forced to do what we did not want to do. We were forced to use our lands to produce the desserts of Europeans. And so we became so dependent on the Europeans since generations. Up till now, Ghanaians are importing corn. We are importing corn, and it's not because we like to import corn. It is because our lands we have been made to use our lands historically to produce the very things that we do not want to produce. And cocoa tree is not like that of maize, where you can easily cut and grow something else. The cocoa plant is a tree. It's a tree on its own. I remember 10 years ago, my parents called me and told me that, Kwame, our farm is dead. And I was like, okay, so then what do we have to do? Have you spoken to the cocoa health extension officers in the farming area? And they said, yes, they said we should cut the trees down. I'm talking about 1,000-acre cocoa farm. The cocoa farmer was told to go and find money to cut the entire trees on it down, to wait for the land to regain its nutrition, if you know, its fertility, if I put it that way. But then this is the same crop that is being bought by the government and sold by the government and bought by European, European companies, where the amount at which the cocoa beans is sold in the international market is only a percentage. It's only a percentage of that money that comes to the farmer. And I just showed you an example where cocoa beans is sold for over $3,000 and the farmer gets less than 1 Ghana cedi for it. Up till now, you might have seen that the price has been going up, and people would want you to deceive ourselves into believing that a cocoa farmer is having a nice experience. I'm talking about within 1980 to the year 2000, which is not long ago, where the difference between the producer price was 220, the producer price was 255 Ghana cedi, as opposed to it being sold for over $2,000. And so if my mother calls me and tells me that, Kwame, our farm is dead, and then the cocoa health extension people are saying that we should we should go and find somebody who uses the chainsaw to cut the whole trees on the 1,000-acre land down, where should the farmer find the money to do the cutting of that tree? That is one. And then two, what should the farmer survive on? What should the farmer survive on? And so this has been the experience. And so anytime I hear about the West talk about sustainability, I tell them that you just don't know the history. And as my experience in the UK has been that people have a very fixed mindset. You can shout and scream, nobody's going to listen to you. All that I just want to say is that we can't talk about the chocolate day and celebrate World Chocolate Day without necessarily know about the history. We still have a lot of Ghanaians who have no clue about the beginnings and the issues within the sector. We tend to jump and celebrate when we say that Ghana produced 1 million tons of cocoa, then everybody is happy. What are we happy about? That we produce a lot of the very crop that is used by Europeans as desserts, and then our people stay in hunger for not producing exactly what they can eat. Is that what we celebrate about? Or are we celebrating that is the very crop that we use as foreign exchange, meaning that we made the farmer work at 100% tax? I'm talking about 100% tax where the farmer produced, wasn't given anything. If most of you might have had your parents tell you that when they were in school, the government, as at that time, will pull everybody out of the school to go to the villages to go and carry cocoa beans. Because as at that time, carrying the beans from the farm to the port wasn't supposed to be, like the government did not want to use even its own money to do that. And as a result, school children were forced out of the classroom to go and pick the beans from the farm to the ports. Yet, what do we use that crop to do? We use that crop to produce European desserts. And I'm emphasizing on that. It is dessert at the expense of the livelihood of the farmers. And so for me, I think the last thing I would say is that a lot of people do not know anything about the sector. A lot of people who may be academics do not know a lot, and then they focus on just the very little that they know to see cocoa as just something that provides the country money. That is how they see it. They see cocoa farmer, they see Ghana as a cocoa farmer instead of the individual in the village as the cocoa farmer. When it comes to cocoa, government, I do not consider Ghana even as part of it. I consider the individual cocoa farmer, because at the moment, it is both the West, both our governments that are together oppressing the farmer. And then because the farmer has been disconnected from the global market, the farmer do not actually know exactly what the actual value of their products. They do not know, because the government has them how the global market. And so it is easier for Europeans to go back to the farm, like the farm. My mother in the farm was saying that people come and make promises, and they don't get anything. And that's exactly what Mondelez did with Cocoa Life program. They went to Ghana, pretended that they were there to support the farmers, and the work that they did was
It looks like we've lost. Oh.
Yeah, I think I'm back now. So what Mondelez did was to go to the farm, learn a lot from the farmers, use it to develop technologies and processes, to go and set up a commercial cocoa farm in Indonesia. And they did not have any shame, but even write on their press release that they built all these technologies out of their Cocoa Life program, which they actually did in Ghana. And they've used that to establish commercial cocoa farming in Indonesia. And they keep saying that they are going to replicate that throughout Indonesia when that farming becomes successful. I'm talking about 2,000 acre land. And so what are they trying to say? All that they are trying to say is that if the cocoa farmer is having issues, then the solution is for Mondelez to be the cocoa producer rather than assisting the farmer. So yeah, just to conclude, I am not really somebody that is going to be very happy about World Chocolate Day or anything, because at the end, nobody is going to help. The Western countries do not have any incentive to help, and they wouldn't do that. Their governments do not have any incentive to help, and they wouldn't do that. Our Ghanaian government finds increased cocoa production as a political point. And so for them, cocoa prices can drop down, the cocoa farmer can be worse off. So long as they being worse off earns them the political point, they are going to be happy about it. So all of us can pretend, Europeans and Ghana government can pretend that we are solving cocoa, but we are actually not doing anything. I think the best thing that we can do is to be able to put our pride aside, actually take the bull by its horn, and then really fight for what we think is supposed to be right. I have started something that I think is close to that. I have lost all my jobs in relation to that. But I feel like I am not fighting for myself or for any other person. I'm fighting for my parents. And I want to make sure that their sweat is not in vain. But then if all of us are going to sacrifice when it's convenient, then we're actually not doing anything. And so, yeah, that is where I will end before I keep talking for a long time. Thank you.
Thanks, Kwame. That's so important. And I think that's so interesting because you, as a child of cocoa farmers, have all this knowledge and all this experience and all this insight. And what we're trying to do with Chocolate Has a Name is to make sure that as many of the children of cocoa farmers as possible have these kinds of insights. So we're not writing a colonial history of cocoa. We're working with, well, I'm not, this is not my role in this project at all, but we're working with people who understand, like yourself, the history of cocoa in Ghana and the way that we can help make it different so that in 20 years' time, we don't have the equivalent of a Kwame coming and saying the exact same thing. So yeah, thank you so much for all your insights. we now have Judith. Can I pass over to you now, or have you got the?
Yes, Joanna, I'm good.
It's on the farm, so we weren't
Yes.
sure about whether her internet was working, but it looks like it is. So
yes, so far it's been holding up. Hi, everybody. So yes, Kwame Kwarteng, that was amazing. Sacrifice should not be convenient, he tells us. And I think this is what Chocolate Has a Name stands for. And to hear some of those statistics, I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but I am stunned about just the disparity in wealth. But then again, I suppose that if you understand how the world works, that kind of makes sense with human greed and profiteering and all that. So thank you, Kwame Kwarteng. That was amazing. Thank you, Joanna. So for now, we'll ask Philippa. So Philippa is our teacher from Takwa Brennan. Takwa Brennan is the school that we intend to run our pilot program for Chocolate Has a Name. Is Philippa on here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. And Philippa, before you do introduce yourself, let me introduce myself. Hi, everybody. My name is Judith Sallycraft. I am a lot of things. I'm a farmer. I'm a clinical psychologist. Name it, I am there. I'm a gardener. And I came on this project about 2 years ago when I had Chocolate Africaniwa do their exhibition on Chocolate Has a Name. And as the daughter of a cocoa farmer, as the daughter of a mango farmer, and having my mom about 22 years ago, my mom bought a mango farm. For her, it was a thing of pension, of doing something she was excited about. So on Monday, just before the program, I had to run to the farm because we have personnel that were trying to put one on my mom. So I had to rush to the farm. So I'm currently in Akole, near about 30 minutes from Somenya in the Eastern region. So that's how I got into the project. So just like you, I sat here, and incidentally on that day, I was on the farm and with my mom, and we're talking about her experience of cocoa in Ghana, the history behind it. And I was shocked because as we sit here, my mango is being harvested and I get to choose the price of how much I sell the mango. I have full control of what I do in my mango farm. I don't see why Auntie Lydia does not have that pleasure. I don't see why there's all this politicking and there are all these pressures that are all orchestrated and designed to make sure that she lives below, way, way below. So for me, that broke my heart. And yes, Ada Asante, I am in Ghana. So just in case you didn't realize, I am in Ghana, in the eastern region of Ghana, in a little town 30 minutes from the nearest city, Somenya, called Akole. So please excuse me if my internet goes off or it's a bit shaky. It's just that I am in rural Ghana, and that is why my video is off. So welcome once again to the program. Yeah, so Philippa, you are our favorite teacher in Takwa Brennan. Philippa, as you have heard the statistics from Mr. Kwarteng, 70% of the world's cocoa beans are from West Africa. What does this mean to you?
Thank you very much. I feel very privileged to be part of this panel discussion commemorating the International World Chocolate Day. Well, my name is Philippa Shina Morrison, a facilitator at Takwa Brennan Girls School. This question is an interesting one, I must say, because Takwa Brennan is a farming community, and about 95% of our population at Takwa Brennan are cocoa farmers.
Wow.
Yeah, interesting. So sometimes I say Takwa Brennan is cocoa, and cocoa is Takwa Brennan. But then for a very long time, we have to import foodstuffs such as fruit and vegetables from neighboring towns and villages, because everything and anything that we grow at Takwa Brennan is cocoa. If there is a plot of land, and you happen to put a seedling and it shoots up, that is cocoa. So I've been wondering, living in a town that grows cocoa, a very important raw material for the production of chocolate. I've been wondering what it means to live in this town. So as a facilitator, I've been on the internet reading articles. And then I've been reading articles about cocoa and chocolate. Then I came across one interesting article about a town named Bonneville in the UK that was built by chocolate. And then I said to myself, if this town, Bonneville, can be built by chocolate, why then not Tapa Vermine? Why is the Tapa Vermine cannot be built on cocoa? Well, we happen to grow cocoa. I move on. The article says, Bonneville is a very beautiful and a desirable place to live in the UK. And I would be very happy if people from here who have been to Bonneville in the UK or who have lived in the UK can actually testify that this is one of the most desirable places to live in the UK, a place that was built on chocolate. Unfortunately, I can't say this for Tapa Vermine. Tapa Vermine is cocoa, and cocoa is Tapa Vermine. And out of cocoa comes chocolate. Our food only exists because donors are able to give us money. Our clinic only exists because donors are able to fund it. Then why then the cocoa? Tapa Vermine is a town that grows cocoa. And chocolate comes from the cocoa bean that Tapa Vermine is able to grow. So why then this? I'm not sure if girls at Bonneville can go to school or stay out of school. I beg your pardon. I'm not sure if girls at Bonneville stay out of school when they are on their period. But here at Tapa Vermine, girls do not go to school when they are on their period as a result of period poverty. This is the town that grows cocoa. I'm not sure if the chocolate makers are able or can afford a daily living experience, a pleasurable one for their children, a decent income for their home. I'm not sure if people at Bonneville can actually afford everyday things that makes living pleasurable. But Tapa Vermine cannot. This is a town that grows cocoa. And chocolate comes out of cocoa. The daily living wage of our farmers is so low that it hardly do anything for them. But this is a town that grows cocoa. Tapa Vermine is one of the most undesirable places to live. But this is a town that grows cocoa. Now the question remains, if chocolate comes out of cocoa, the question remains, if chocolate comes out of cocoa and chocolate is able to build a town, a desirable town in the UK, why then, when it comes to Ghana, Tapa Vermine is one of the most undesirable places to live, a town that grows cocoa. But as I move on, I am hoping that we will not only remain cocoa growers, our community will not only be known for cocoa growing. So I believe this is about time, because for so long we have grown cocoa, but yet we still live in hardship. So I believe it's about time that we add value to our produce. I believe it's about time that we add value to our produce. So I am hoping that as our girls are going to be learning how to make chocolate, how to process cocoa, that Sakwa Bremen, perhaps one day, Sakwa Bremen will be known as a town built on cocoa. The story of Bonzo, like I said, is a very amazing one. But can I say that for Sakwa Bremen, a town that grows cocoa and chocolate comes out of cocoa? No, this is very sad. Sakwa Bremen grows cocoa and chocolate comes out of cocoa. Happy International Chocolate Day. Thank you.
Wow, that is stunning. I wondered if I wasn't in this platform, in this place and time, and I was somewhere in the UK, somewhere in the US, somewhere in Sweden, Belgium, eating a bar of chocolate to commemorate the day. And to hear you speak the way you did, Miss Philippa, I would throw that out of my mouth so quickly, because wow, thank you for that submission. So to Philippa, who is a resident of Sakwa Bremen, the fact that Ghana produces 70% of the world's cocoa, she sees no evidence of that in her life as she goes about her day, which is sad. But let's, do we have Raymond here? Let's see what Raymond has to say about that. Raymond? So Raymond is the president of the Cocoa Carrier Association of Ghana. Do we have Raymond on this call, please? Raymond, can you hear me? Could you please unmute yourself?
Yes,
Hi,
I can hear you.
Raymond. Okay, Raymond. So Raymond, we've heard from Philippa, who has explained to us how she feels about Chocolate Day, and the fact that 70% of the world's cocoa is from West Africa. And what does this mean to you, Raymond?
Yes, first of all, I would like to thank all of you for your submission. And I would also give a special thanks to our sister for this selfless vision. In fact, where I am now, as part of this family, chocolate has a name. It's an evidence that I am very serious and about what is happening right now and the vision that is about to see light in Ghana as one of the largest cocoa producing country in West Africa. As I speak now, I think if I turn my video on, there will be problem with my network. But as I'm speaking now, I'm on top of a story building. It's raining, but I'm standing inside the rain with an umbrella to make sure I also contribute to this vision. I am much privileged and honored to be part of this family and also to speak on behalf of my community, the Cocoa Carriers. Ghana, to be precise, I am the president of the Cocoa Carriers, and I want to air our concerns and also inform the chocolate world about the vital role we play for the world, we play on behalf of the world, for the global community to enjoy chocolate at their comfort zones. Not also forgetting about the chocolate producing companies both local and international. The bridge and the gap that carriers in Ghana feel the role we play for them to get the cocoa beans for production is undeniable fact that without us, the cocoa cannot get to them miraculously. From the bush, we have carriers who carry the cocoa to the various district offices in the cocoa farming communities. When the cocoa is being gathered in the district offices, it goes through a lot of processes. And after that, carriers have to carry the cocoa from the district offices, load them in the vehicles, and transport them to the government warehouses. And there are carriers also positioned at the government warehouses to offload the vehicle when they arrive into the government warehouse. And when the cocoa beans has been taken through process of inspection, and it is proven that the cocoa beans are in good condition, and it's due time for us again to load the cocoa from the government warehouses to the local industries, or to load them and they'll export them to the international market. And in this process, as a matter of fact, carriers are being exposed to workplace hazards. Imagine someone carrying 64 kilograms weight bag on his neck or at his back. And if that bag should fall on that person, what is going to be of that person? And we have evidence of many carriers who have been injured from the workplace, and as I speak now, they have been rendered physically disabled, and they can no longer do any work to survive. And they don't also have the intellectual qualification to go apply for any occupation again. They have become waste to their families. When the cocoa is also being stored in the government warehouses, they fumigate them with chemicals. And these chemicals are very dangerous to our health. Yet when it is time for us to load the cocoa beans for them to be exported, we are supposed, or we are forced to go into the chemicals, which is very dangerous to our health, and load the cocoa so that it can be exported. In that manner, the cocoa beans will get to the international market without getting spoiled. And we are risking our health to do all this on behalf of our mother, Ghana, and for the chocolate world. As a matter of fact, we all know that Ghana is the second largest cocoa producing country in West Africa. And what it means is that almost 40% of the cocoa that is being exported to the international market passes through our heads and our back to be able to get to them. So as we celebrate our World Chocolate Day today, I am very sure that by now the chocolate that is going to spark love in someone's family, among our friends, the chocolate that is going to spark excitement could be bees that have passed through my head to get to them. I am a young graduate. I survived through my tertiary education working as a career. It was a hell on earth for me. I've graduated. I did my national service in the cocoa board. Yet, after the national service, I'm still unemployed. And only the cocoa carrying right now is my source of survival, my means of survival. And I will not go to steal because I am a graduate and not employed. I have to work to survive. And I know my effort is not being appreciated at the best. When you look at the companies producing chocolate, the profit they make, the life they live, I think it is their idea and their wisdom they use to run their companies. But on the real grounds, when they wanted to start their companies, I am very sure they never thought that there's somebody somewhere who's going to carry the cocoa and load it for it to be exported or transported to their industries for them to produce chocolate. But as we celebrate our World Chocolate Day today, I want to inform the whole world, the chocolate world, that there is someone who is called a carrier, who have filled in a hole that an intellectual cannot fill, who have filled in a hole, a gap that the management and even the owners of the companies of chocolate producers cannot fill. They are playing their part to bring us chocolate. And we are also playing a very important part to get them the bees. So on behalf of my community, the carriers, I want to say that we deserve a fair share of our effort. We deserve better than what we have been given. Before I bring my submission to conclusion, we know that the government of Ghana cannot determine the price of his cocoa beans in the international market. But I want to say that the beneficiaries of cocoa, if they serve our government better, I am very sure they will also serve the carriers better. So as we celebrate our World Chocolate Day today, on behalf of all the carriers in Ghana, I want to say that this is a message from the carriers. When you are taking a bite of chocolate, of happiness, of love and excitement, it is our sweat. It is our strength. And this work is very dangerous to our lives and our health. Most of us have been rendered disabled. We deserve a fair share of what we contribute to the chocolate world and the cocoa industry, locally and internationally. I also want to add that, as we know, that Ghana is the second largest cocoa producing country. There is no sign here in Ghana about the cocoa farmers, the carriers, or any individual. There's no evidence like it is known in the international market how people are benefiting from cocoa beans and how almost most products, our essential needs, are being provided from cocoa beans. Meanwhile, the country producing the cocoa beans, the individuals are struggling. Per my research, I have come to understand that Cote d'Ivoire, which is the largest producing country in West Africa, their carriers have the final say when it comes to their work conditions. When you get to their harbors, when you get to their various posts, you will not differentiate a carrier from a staff because they are all paid equally. Without a carrier, you are nothing there as a staff. So in Cote d'Ivoire, carriers are being served well. How much widows in Ghana also suffering the same suffering, sweating the same, and struggling the same to serve our country and also to serve the chocolate world with the beans to produce the chocolate for us. I will conclude by saying that the vision our dear sister has is very selfless. And I would say that the chocolate world should take a very much consideration about it and also do their best to make sure that the cocoa producing countries really benefit as it is supposed to be. I will end here by wishing the chocolate world and all of us a very cognizant eating time. Once again, I wish you World Chocolate Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Raymond. Just a point of correction there, Raymond. It is a shared vision for all of us. It's a vision for justice. It's a vision for, like exactly what you said, a fair share of the wealth. You know, Raymond, I saw on the news a few months back that the carriers had gone on strike. Could you just tell us a bit about that strike and what you were fighting for exactly, please?
Yes, thank you once again. Yes, recently we went on strike, and the reason for the strike was for our work conditions and pay increase. I don't have the exact price per bag of cocoa in Ghana, but I think it is somewhere close to 600 Ghana cedis. And we were paid 62 pesos for carrying a bag 2 times to store in the government warehouses.
Okay, Raymond, just a second there. So Raymond is saying that he earns 62 pesos for carrying 64 kilos of cocoa beans. So for those of us who are not in Ghana, $1 is currently 82 Ghana cedis, if that gives a bit of perspective. And I know that for about a kilo, maybe if you went to buy flour from the supermarket, you're probably looking at maybe 2 kilos, a kilo. So imagine 31 of those or 64 of those. All right, sorry, everyone, keep going.
So we saw it necessary that it was not fair on our part. So together we decided to solicit for increment of our wage per bag, a price per bag. We wrote letters to the management, but they did not pay heed to us. They thought we cannot do anything about it and we don't have say about it as usual. But it was unfortunate on their part that we stood on our grounds and then we demanded an increment to 1 Ghana cedis per bag. And they were not able to give us the 1 Ghana cedi per bag, but they gave us 82 pesos per bag. And as of now, we are carrying 82 pesos per bag, which you offload, they check the beans, if they are in good condition, then you stack it again. So it means that 41 pesos of loading and 41 pesos for stacking. And if you offload and you are not able to stack, you are going to be paid nothing, because the offloading is, to them, is literally not the job done. Asante kasa mu yaka asemi say yebu baby say ajumase ne any nkatua. So if you offload and you don't stack, you don't have pay. So now we have been paid 82 pesos per bag, and we are still pushing our agenda to let them understand that even the 82, with the economic cost of living right now, we are struggling. We are just living hand to mouth, and some of us, 80% of us, cannot even survive with the hand to mouth. So we are still pushing our agenda that this is the role we play that the government cannot play. This is the role we play that the management cannot play. And so therefore, they should give us our fair share. So we are still pushing our agenda. And if they don't give it to us, I am very sure we will stand on our grounds again to take the necessary access for them to understand that we carriers have occupied a very serious an important role when it comes to our cocoa industry in Ghana.
Thank you, Raymond. Thank you for letting us into a day of life. So for Raymond and for World Chocolate Day, he just wants a share of the wealth and for all the work he does. And he receives only 1/13 of a dollar, approximately, or maybe about 1/10 of a pound. Yeah, so that's Raymond's message for us. Next on our list is Leonard Opoko Ajaman. Please unmute your phone if you can hear me, Leonard. Hello, Leonard, are you with us?
Yeah.
Okay. So Leonard, you've heard what Raymond has had to say about his message to everybody else on World Chocolate Day. What about you, Leonard? If 70% of the world's cocoa beans are from West Africa, what does this mean to you?
Well, thank you very much, host, for giving me this opportunity to be part of this Chocolate Day celebration. And I would like to take this opportunity to wish every member on this platform a happy Chocolate Day. 70% of the world's cocoa coming from West Africa, what it means a lot. Now, it poses a lot of questions to me and it evokes a lot of things into my memory. The obvious question is, cocoa did not originate from West Africa. How come cocoa, West Africa is the largest producing region in terms of cocoa production? That means that a lot has really gone into cocoa production in the West African context, and that is making this global contribution. And for me, it behoves on us to actually trace a bit of history or to connect to the history why today West Africa is the largest producing cocoa. But it all started, this story it's really steeped in Christian mission and colonialism, and a lot of scholars have contributed to this particular discourse. But let me say that, and further note, scholars trace the history of cocoa, especially in Ghana. Let me use the Ghanaian context. They trace the history of cocoa in Ghana in the 1800s, and specifically believe that it was in exactly 1800 that the first cocoa tree was planted in Elmina, in central region of Ghana. But that initial effort was not successful. We are also told that there were other efforts, especially by the Basel missions, before the period 1879, and that effort too was not really successful. However, in Ghana, we celebrate Tete Kwashe for his numerous contributions, and we believe that he is the catalyst for the establishment of the cocoa industry in Ghana. But all because his effort actually led to the commercialization of the industry. But much as people credit Tete Kwashe, Tete Kwashe cannot be the sole contributor, because the records actually indicate that there were many other factors, including the fact that the Basel species contribution and the colonial government, their contribution to cocoa cultivation and production cannot be underestimated. So clearly you could see that there are multiple factors that really accounted for the spread of the Ghana's cocoa industry. But that notwithstanding, I personally believe that West Africa is producing 70% of the world's cocoa bean today, and that is largely due to the efforts, the tireless effort of the cocoa farmers, the pioneer cocoa farmers. And most of these pioneer cocoa farmers were actually Christians, and together with their non-Christian counterparts, they were able to really play the critical role. And we are here today because of whatever effort that they put in initially, and today we are all reaping it. In fact, they did very well to the extent that around 1911, by 1911, Ghana was the world's leading cocoa producer. So there are quite a lot of things that have gone into the history of cocoa in Ghana, and for that matter,
Judith, have we lost him?
Hello, Leonard.
These people have not really received attention. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Leonard. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, these efforts have not really received a lot of, critical attention in terms of research. And that is why for the past few years, I have personally dedicated my scholarly career by investigating how these pioneer Christian farmers, and for that matter, pioneer cocoa farmers, contributed to building our colonial economy, as well as, post-colonial economy, which has brought us to this far. In fact, cocoa has been the sole contributor of Ghana's economy. And there's a sense in which we can say that we are here today as a country because of cocoa, because most of the things that we are enjoying today actually is connected to cocoa. It was the initial cocoa farmers that contributed to nation building by sending their walls to pursue further education elsewhere. And today they are in leading positions in government and other sectors of the economy. But unfortunately, what the story is told, these people are sidelined. These people are not really given prominence in the literature. And so, like Raymond is saying, there's the need for us to actually look at the whole narrative again, and we'll be able to really tell the story by actually highlighting the contribution of every member within the chain and how they have contributed. It is only in appreciating how these people have really contributed that we can actually promote fairness and other things which my other speakers have also heard. So in short, we need to delve to the historical root of these issues, and that will help us to really appreciate how far we've traveled as far as cocoa is concerned in West Africa. At least I think I can say, I can pause here. If there are other questions, then I'll continue from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Leonard. So Nana, could you give us an update on what's happening in the chat? Hello, Nana.
Hi, one moment, please. Yes, there are a number of things that have been said, and some people who have left are in solidarity with what's happening at the moment. So we have someone who says, I think it's Angela, who says that this is an amazing story to share about Africa and Ghana, but where do we go from this narrative? Also, I think someone also said Happy Chocolate Day to Bismarck, Lydia and Adele. And they just want to ask whether there's a particular organization or people who have promised education, training and materials, and why have these not materialized? Further down, we have someone who said that they need to leave, but he wanted to thank everybody. Oops. He wanted to thank everybody for everything that he'd heard and learned, and that it's an extraordinary and powerfully enriching story. He'd like to thank us for creating the space and testifying. He's convinced by Bob Manteo's writing about chocolate as a teaching tool, and he believes that it's given him some essential questions to take away and think on, especially from the last speaker. And he's asking what they can do to help to build and build out of cocoa. Why is it that the wealth made by chocolate doesn't flow to where the value of cocoa is originally produced? And how can we change this situation? And he says, love and solidarity to all. Wuntombo also says, there is every cause for alarm. Dear Kwame, you've made a bunch of thought-provoking assertions. He couldn't agree with you any better. The ironies around this whole sustainability of thing is so misconstrued through Western or rather European lenses. People are professing to be helping by showing us the light, but in truth, they are worsening our plight. How do we give a man that which he already has? It's about time that we've changed the narrative. It boils down to one thing. Until the lion learns to write his story, the stories will always glorify the hunter. Long live Afrikanewa and all of us on board this journey. David Johnson also says there clearly are some brutal structural injustices when it comes to cocoa farmers in West Africa, Ghana in particular. This must change. Help us understand how this is to be done. What can we do from here? Sharon Hardwick asks, does fair trade make a difference? We need justice for cocoa farmers now. And I think the rest all say similar things. So okay. I'll end that here. Yeah.
Okay, so we apologize for the delay. I do realize that we are running a bit late, but we'll quickly go to Adele for summaries and a quick thanks from Joanna. So Adele, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Crab, and to all of the tribe, and the messages of solidarity, the questions and hope coming in from the chat. I also do apologize, we've gone over time, and thank you for bearing with us. The internet strength is not the same across, and so we just wish to say thank you. What can we do? How do we curb this situation? And these are the nuances and the many questions that are coming in from the chat. We want to give back to the people what they deserve. That is why we say chocolate has a name. Today, I had the opportunity of sharing my morning with a school, and I introduced myself as a human library. So this evening, we had human libraries, and they came to share with us. Kwame's expertise is so unique, you've probably not read it anywhere before. So is Raymond, so is Bob's, so is Lydia and Miss Philippa, the teacher, and Leonard as well. We have come as human library, and today we are telling these stories to challenge your perceptions and also to illuminate our reality. We've told these stories because we believe that chocolate truly has a name. It's an invitation to come with us in solidarity, to give back to these communities what we owe them. After 129 years of Ghana exporting egg beans, children in a cocoa growing community will be making their first bean to the bar. That is not Ghana's story, neither is it Africa's story. It's a story for justice, is a story of fairness. And someone asked about educational materials and resources. This is quite different. We're asking the people with the lived experience in Ghana, in the cocoa growing communities, to come with us to put the syllabus together, to put together a curriculum that makes sense, a curriculum that children see in the environment. And so I have so much hope in this project. And this is an invitation for everyone to come with us, support the project. I hope the next year when we come here and meet to talk about World Chocolate Day, we will be for the first time talking to these children who have gone on the journey of producing something and adding value to what they already know. Today was a taster session. You hear more about Leonard's story? You want to hear more about Cocoa Carrier's everyday lived experience? You want to hear more about Mondale's going to cocoa farming communities in Ghana and using the knowledge from the human libraries to Indonesia to start something? Well, the Cocos has just opened, and as the months go on, we ask you to follow us. We are going to invite these speakers to come back and speak for a whole hour session of interaction. We can ask questions and knowledge exchange as well. Chocolate has a name, and that name could be yours. Thank you so much. Joanna, over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Adele. Yes, and thank you so much to all of the speakers tonight. It's been a privilege and an honour, and it's really thought-provoking to hear all of you. And this is the lived experience. This is what all of you have grown up around cocoa in a way that those of us that are based in the UK haven't. So we've probably been to Bourneville. There's a theme park. There's a Cadbury's World theme park there. Some of us will have been there, but we've never been to Takwa Bremen. And I'm going to put that right when I go to Ghana in October. I'll go to Takwa Bremen and I will see for myself all of the things that Philippa was talking about, all of the complications of being a cocoa farmer. Hopefully I'll meet Raymond and the cocoa carriers as well. And it will be really fascinating to spend time in their presence, because in this space, this is what we do. We give chocolate a name. We have named people. We have people telling their own stories, telling their lived experience, and there is nothing more important. In the chat, I've put some links. So the first link is to our crowdfunder, because the project that we're working on with the Takwa Bremen Girls School will hopefully address some of the issues that Kwame had when he was growing up and he didn't learn the history of cocoa in Ghana, and he didn't make the connections. And none of the children that are currently going to school in the regions of Ghana where cocoa are grown, they don't have that. So if you want to support us with introducing that, helping them, the children, the girls, empowering them to understand how cocoa can be part of their futures, that would be really good. There's a fantastic video that some of the people on this call made for World Chocolate Day. That's on YouTube now, so there's a link to that. And then also, as of this weekend, I'll be joining some campaigners for fairer chocolate, walking around Bradford district over the next 3 days. And then we've got a fantastic Ghanaian tea party planned for Saturday afternoon. So if anybody's able to join us there, that would be really good. And I just want to finish by saying thank you so much. I won't say happy World Chocolate Day, but I think a thoughtful World Chocolate Day and an introspective World Chocolate Day, so that every time we spend the equivalent of 1/12 of a pound on chocolate, we think about the fact that that's what somebody like Raymond gets paid to lift 64 kilos on his back, carry that chocolate, and we will really understand what chocolate means, and that chocolate now does for us have a name. Thank you.